Race, though, is a power structure. Race is a system where a certain group in our global world, where whites are perceived as being better and superior, and other groups fall below that. And so what that means is when you have a diverse congregation, yes, you do come in with different cultures. You do have groups coming in with different ethnicities, and they feel these are very salient to them. But then when you have it being diverse racially, then what you're bringing in is a very particular power structure. And the deal is this: people are used to it. People don't regularly challenge that in their everyday thinking. And I'm mainly thinking of whites. They don't think about it. It's just privilege, right? I mean, just how I do things. This is life for us. Of course, this is how you sing songs. Of course, this is how you teach. Of course, this is how long a service should be. Of course, this is the way you dress. If you have people coming into a place and they have expectations that the way they do things is just the way you do things, and other groups don't necessarily live in a world where it works like that, then you have this power dynamic at play, right? And so multiracial churches, and I'm very particular when I talk about this. A lot of people want to say multicultural and they want to say multi-ethnic. I want to be clear and say, yes, that's true. You can have multicultural, multi-ethnic churches, but I'm particularly interested in multiracial churches because of the challenge of that power dynamic. And so when you have that happen in a space that's supposed to be egalitarian, we're all supposed to be one, we're all supposed to be equal under God, people bring in all kind of other stuff that makes doing diversity, in this case I'm talking about racial diversity, very challenging. Well, I will say, no matter if you are an Anglo pastor, a white pastor, an African-American pastor, a Latino pastor, you can all want to do the same thing. You can have the same heart. You can desire to bring people together. But you still are going to have to deal with that dynamic. People don't leave their race at the door when they go to church. They don't do that. They come in with a race. And whether or not they're supposed to do that is really not the question. It's just what is. And so you have this really interesting space where people are supposed to be doing and living up to a mandate. And yet, amazingly so, or maybe not amazingly so, I should say, and still, they have a challenge doing that. They have a challenge doing that. Religion, interestingly enough, was kind of a place that really socialized youth to, in many ways, maintain or stay in their particular ethno-racial category. Okay, so I'll give you an example. One of the things we've noticed is that for white youth, they would actually think about God in a way that was a very personal and for them God. And so God was understood to kind of be almost kind of like your buddy and your friend. You know, like you go to God, you talk to God, God's your friend, God takes care of you, He takes care of me, He's there, He's present for me, right? And it's very interesting to us because what we were hearing, you know, when in the interviews, and then we also looked at some survey data, is this idea that it's kind of like religion is kind of affirming my own privilege. You know, I'm already doing well, and they're not really thinking about it that way. It just sort of worked out. Very individualistic, very personal, very for me. What was also interesting, we found African American youth, and this continues to be. These things are, you know, kind of normally found, is that religion was very salient, very important, but also a sense that God was an authority figure, somebody that should be respected, a fatherly figure, but somebody that should be respected. So there was definitely a sense that there's this being that you worship. You don't interact with this being as your buddy and friend who's there. You serve this being, you listen to this being, you obey this being. The being loves you, but you also obey it, right? And so there's this, again, the sense of not for me, but I'm there for, I serve. For Latino youth, it was somewhat similar, but family was really important. Family and religion really overlapped. And it's almost as if to be a part of the family is to be actively engaged in religion. You almost couldn't really pull it apart. So I'm the president for the Society for the Scientific Study of Religion this year, and my call is for us to really talk about religion and power. What is missing is a intellectually stimulating, engaged conversation on how religion is used to reproduce power structures or deconstruct power structures. I think we want to overlook how groups use religion in the social spheres, in the political spheres, to gain influence, to move society, to direct society in a particular way. Now, granted, we may talk about it around certain issues. Okay, so we may talk about hot button issues, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying religion and hot button issues. I'm talking about how society is moved in particular ways. I think we need to really be talking about that.